Each layer of mud contains hints about how the ice has advanced and retreated in the past. So it's sliced up and the samples got ready to be taken back to England. What's the value in knowing the past sea ice pattern?
Well, there's two reasons for wanting to investigate this. The first is that it gives us a simple historical record, a much better idea about how the climate has changed in the past. But perhaps of greater significance within the current regime of climate change, by building up a much larger historical data set of sea ice, we're able to input that data into modelling programs which allow us to predict with much greater accuracy how climate change may vary in the future.
Those forecasts predict that a lot more shipping could pass through here in the years ahead. Using this route could cut days off the sailing time between Europe and Asia. That was tried nearly 40 years ago with an oil tanker, the Manhattan, but it was badly damaged. Now the Canadians worry that without tight control, these waters could be at risk.
Passing through them is one thing, but making sure that appropriate actions are taken if, for example, an environmental disaster happens, such as an oil spill or something like this, is the other step. So just having the right to pass somewhere is one thing, but to make sure that, for example, we clean after oil spills or problems is another. So Canadians are in a position where they see a lot of ships from other countries passing through. But the question then becomes, who is going to make sure that this system is actually tended to?
So much of the research is about understanding the state of the Arctic now. Every 2 hours, this researcher descends down into the engine room. It's hot and deafening, but it's a chance to collect samples of seawater. Just one of many routines underway as the Amundsen continues to head west. Now, I thought many of you would want to know what life is like on board, so let me show you. Now, on this deck, there's the laundry, down the end, the canteen, some very good food. It is quite an old ship, but it's just been recently refurbished. So let me show you the cabin that we live and work in, very well equipped. Two nice workstations. You can see all the gear of cameraman Rob McGee, my seasickness pills, historical books about the Northwest Passage. Those are our bunks, very comfortable. Now the big issue, stepping outside into the real polar world. You need a lot of very warm clothing. It's a laborious task putting it on. And while I do, because this ship is mainly staffed by French Canadians, here's a little Quebecois song. Okay, there we go. I'm hot already. Now it's out on deck in the cold that the main research is carried out. This device has just come up from the bottom of the ocean. It's collected samples of water at different layers all the way up, a vital part of the survey work being undertaken on this ship. Now there's one more thing I want to show you just before we leave. Back inside, this is a really important room. It's nice and warm. It's centrally heated to keep this thing happy. This part of the Arctic has got hardly any docks to speak of, no real ports. The only way to get onto the ship for us was by helicopter. It's going to be the way that we get off. After a week, we make it through. We find ourselves in a rocky, barren landscape. But just think what this sight would have meant to those early explorers. And then a very surprising view for us, another ship. Until this point, we've been a very lonely outpost of humanity. Now we rendezvous with the flagship of the Canadian Coast Guard, the Louis Saint Laurent. We draw alongside, and it's a strange feeling catching sight of unfamiliar people. But now it's time for us to go, at the end of one of the world's last great journeys.
I have to confess to feeling a bit emotional as we leave the Amundsen. It's been our home for the past week, taking us from the waters of the Atlantic in the east, right through the Arctic to the west and the approaches to the Pacific. We've crossed 2 time zones during this journey. It is a route which for centuries people weren't quite sure was even possible. But it is, and we've just done it.
For just one time I would take the Northwest Passage to find the hand of Franklin reaching for the Beaufort